You're standing at a backyard barbecue holding a paper plate. Someone mentions they just maxed out their 401k again. Another person brings up the rental property they closed on last spring. A third casually drops that their brokerage account just crossed a number you did not even know was a milestone. And there you are, doing quiet math in your head, trying to remember whether that old work account from 2 jobs ago even counts as retirement savings. You smile. You nod. You say something safe like, "That is amazing," and you take a long sip of your drink. But your stomach does that thing where it drops a few inches and just stays there. That night you cannot sleep. You replay the whole conversation, wondering how everyone else cracked the money code while you were apparently absent the day they handed out the instructions. Should you have bought a house 5 years ago? Why did nobody teach you this in your 20s? Is it too late? Are you going to be working until you are 75? I am Jenna, and here is what nobody at that barbecue is going to admit. A lot of them are performing. The guy with the rental did not mention it has been empty for 3 months and quietly draining his checking account. The woman who maxed out her 401k is carrying credit card debt she has not told her spouse about. And most of the rest are lying awake tonight too, feeling the exact thing you are feeling. They have just gotten very good at looking calm. Here is the deeper problem. Society handed you a success checklist and forgot to mention that the checklist was written for a different economy. In 1985, the median American home cost about $82,000. The median household earned around $23,000 a year. One income could carry a family of 4. The milestones you are quietly grading yourself against were built for that world. As of 2025, the median home costs about $417,000, while the median household income sits near $83,000. The yardstick never got updated. You did. So today I am going to do something a little uncomfortable. I am going to show you the real, current benchmarks for age 40. Some will make you feel better. A couple might rattle you. Then I will hand you the exact catch-up roadmap, even if you are starting from close to zero. And here's the part that surprises people. The ones who start late and play it right often pass the ones who started early and coasted. There is real math behind that, and I will walk you through it. Let us start with the benchmark every financial company loves to quote. The popular rule says that by 40 you should have 3 times your salary saved for retirement. Earn $80,000, you should have $240,000 tucked away. Sounds reasonable when you say it fast. Now here is reality. According to the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, the median retirement balance for Americans aged 35 to 44 is about $45,000, and that is only counting households that have a retirement account at all. Over half of American households report no dedicated retirement savings whatsoever. Let that land. So if you are sitting on 30, 60, even 100,000, you are already ahead of most of your peers. The benchmarks that make you feel like a failure were largely built by institutions that profit when you feel behind. That said, do not celebrate average. Average in this country means scraping into your late 60s and praying nothing breaks. The goal is not to beat your neighbors. It is genuine security. So here are the benchmarks I actually want you measuring against at 40. First, retirement savings. A realistic, meaningful target is 1.5 to 2 times your salary by 40. Earn $70,000. Aim for $100,000 to $140,000. Here is why even the lower end matters more than you think. Put $120,000 in at 40, never add another single dollar, and at an 8% average return it grows to roughly $820,000 by 65. You would not be rich, but you would have something real working for you while you sleep. Second, your emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of essential expenses in a high-yield savings account. Essentials means housing, utilities, food, insurance, transportation. For most households, that is $12,000 to $25,000 you can reach within a day. And this is where people slip. Your emergency fund is not your vacation fund. It exists for one job: to stop a bad week from turning into bad debt. Third, debt. By 40, the high-interest consumer debt should be gone. A credit card charging you 20% is a 5-alarm fire, and it gets put out before anything else. That interest compounds against you with the same quiet force that investing compounds for you. Every month you carry a balance, you are swimming against a current designed to keep you exactly where you are. Fourth, income. Your earning power is the engine that drives everything else, and your peak earning years usually land between 45 and 54. So at 40, you are walking into your strongest decade, not leaving it. Someone earning $50,000 who saves 20% puts away $10,000 a year. Someone earning $100,000 at the same rate puts away $20,000. Over 25 years, that gap compounds into hundreds of thousands. Growing your income is not about status. It is just math. Now, maybe you are listening to all this and realizing you are behind on 3 of the 4. Maybe all 4. The instinct is to panic or to quietly give up and decide retirement is just going to be rough. I need you to hear this clearly. Catching up in your 40s is often easier than building from scratch in your 20s. There are 3 reasons. 1. Your earning power is higher. A 25-year-old might scrape together $300 a month. A 40-year-old can often invest $1,500 or $2,000. That difference in intensity is enormous. 2. Your expenses often stabilize. The student loans may be gone, the furniture is bought, the big one-time costs are behind you. The spending treadmill slows down if you let it. 3. You finally understand money. You have watched a market crash and recover. The 25-year-old panics and sells. You have learned not to. Let me make this real with someone I will call Brian. Brian hit 40 with $22,000 in retirement savings, a car payment, and about $8,000 in credit card debt, earning $85,000 a year and feeling like he was treading water. Every month ended right where it started. Over the next 7 years, he turned it completely around. No lottery, no inheritance, no viral side business. Just the highest impact moves in the right order. Phase 1, he stopped the bleeding. One weekend, 3 months of statements, a highlighter. He found $340 a month leaking out the door on streaming services, a gym he never used, and subscription boxes piling up in a closet. Then he refinanced his car loan from almost 9% down to a little over 4%, saving another $127 a month. Inside 30 days, he had freed up nearly $500 a month without changing his life at all. Phase 2, he killed the debt. Every spare dollar went at the highest rate card first, because a card at 20% is a guaranteed 20% loss, and no investment reliably beats that. 8 months later, the card was gone, and he now had about $850 a month freed up for building wealth. Phase 3, the safety net. He took his emergency fund from $2,000 up to $15,000, about 4 months of essentials. This step feels like a delay. It is actually the foundation. Without it, the next surprise just puts you right back on the credit card and the cycle starts over. Phase 4, retirement intensity. He grabbed his full employer match immediately because a 50% match is an instant 50% return he had been leaving on the table for years. Then he raised his contribution by 1% every 6 months, slow enough that his lifestyle never felt it. By 45, he was putting away 18% and barely noticed. Phase 5, income. He spent 6 months and about $3,000 earning a certification in his field. Within 2 years, it pushed his salary up by $22,000. Here's the move most people miss. He did not spend the raise. He kept living on his old salary and invested the entire difference, about $1,400 a month. By 49, 7 years after starting with almost nothing, Brian had over $380,000 invested, owned his car outright, and was on track for more than $1 million by his early 60s. Now the math that makes a late start so powerful. An early but passive saver who puts $200 a month away from 25 to 65 at 8% ends up with about $700,000. A late but aggressive saver who puts $1,500 a month from 40 to 65 at the same return ends up with about $1.4 million. Yes, The late starter put in more each month. That is the point. A 25-year runway plus your peak earning cash flow lets intensity do what time alone cannot. And the system actually rewards this. For 2026, the regular 401k limit is $24,500. The year you turn 50, you get an extra $8,000 in catch-up room, and between 60 and 63, there is now a super catch-up worth $11,250 on top. One heads up. Starting in 2026, if you earned over $150,000 last year, those catch-up dollars have to go into a Roth account. There is one trap that derails more comebacks than any math problem, and that is paralysis. You read the articles, watch the videos, bookmark things you never reopen. The gap feels so big that doing nothing feels safer than starting. So here is your assignment. One specific action in the next 48 hours. If you have high-interest debt, open a balance transfer card with a 0% intro rate and move the balances so the interest stops. If you have no debt but no savings, automate $200 per paycheck into a high-yield account so the money moves before you can spend it. If you have savings but you are not investing, log in and raise your contribution by 2%. Not next month. Today. Motion creates motivation, not the other way around. While we are on benchmarks, do not skip the career side because your income is the engine. By 40, you want one specialized skill that commands premium pay. Generalists get replaced. Specialists get recruited. You want a real network too, at least 5 people who could help you land a job inside 30 days if your role vanished tomorrow. Build those relationships before you need them, not the week you get walked out. And aim for one small stream of income outside your paycheck, even $500 a month. Not to get rich. To make sure losing one job is a setback, not a crisis. Now, if you are one of the people who is actually ahead, a warning for you too. The danger is not falling behind. It is comfort. The house gets bigger, the cars get nicer, and by 50 you have spent your way back into stress while earning more than ever. Every time your lifestyle expands, the number you need to retire expands with it. So recalculate that target whenever your spending jumps. A bigger house does not just cost more to buy. It raises the floor on everything. Now back to that barbecue, because here is what was really going on. The guy maxing out his 401k for 12 years has about $350,000 saved. He also has $600,000 left on his mortgage, a home equity line he tapped for the kitchen, and 2 kids heading to college. He is not wealthy. He is leveraged. The woman with the rental bought at the peak and loses $400 a month after taxes and vacancies. She calls it equity. And the brokerage milestone person inherited $200,000 and has already spent $40 of it. You are comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. So here's where we land. The benchmark matters less than the direction you are moving. Someone at 40 with $50,000 saved and a 30% savings rate will pass someone with $200,000 and a 5% rate inside a decade. Velocity beats position at this stage. If you are ahead, do not coast, because 5 more years of intensity can buy you an entire decade of freedom later. And if you are behind, understand that you are standing in the most powerful wealth-building decade of your life. Your income is near its peak. Your timeline is still long enough for compounding to do the heavy lifting. 10 years from now, this is either the moment you finally got serious, or it is the next barbecue with the same knot in your stomach. The benchmarks are not the point. What you do next is the point. I am Jenna. I will see you in the next one.